Hello, this is Christopher Swindle, and you are listening to the Funny Science Fiction PopCast.
The show that Darth Vader listens to get all of his best dad jokes.
Our show is brought to you by our charity sponsor, the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund, which supports the Wish Upon a Teen Foundation that helps out sick kids when they need it most. And just imagine the comfort you'll give Red Shirt crewman number 57. He'll know that when he puts on the red shirt and joins monsters Fungus and Phlegm in the efforts to work with Mike and Sully, that he didn't leave his family destitute and without hope. Because the Red Shirt Widows and Orphans Fund has his back, and what's left of his ID badge. And now, a word from our show sponsor, Level Up Sabers. Their link can be found in the show notes.
Our guest today is a longtime voice actor who's been a part of many anime and animated movies and shows, things that you are sure to be familiar with. He's voiced Li Shan from Kung Fu Panda, Ide and Ultraman, The Keeper and Owl House, Fungus and Phlegm, which I can't get enough of saying, Fungus and Phlegm from Monsters at Work, and so much more. We are very proud and excited to welcome Christopher Swindle to the Funny Science Fiction PopCast. Welcome to the show, Christopher.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're excited. One of the things that Kathleen and I always like to do is when we're looking at, guests after they've been either recommended to us or have by some fault of their agent agreed to be on our show, we have we look through their IMDb, and it's a list. It's a couple days of text messages going back and forth of, oh, did you see that they're on this? Oh, did you see they're on this? Oh, they did this, they did that.
Totally forgot he did. Yeah.
So yeah, there was a couple of those moments going down your list for sure. Fungus and Phlegm was high on that list. I just want you to know, because again, I'm a boy. I like bathroom humor. Fungus and Phlegm. Why not? Anyway,
of course.
Yeah. So
even I'm amused by it, but also my favorite word ever is fester, closely followed by squelch. Like, they're just good words.
Those are good words. Those are good words.
I like those.
I agree.
They also make people cringe, and it's just fun.
And if my daughter gets to listen to this, I just want to throw out one more word: moist. Anyway.
Oh, don't forget poultry.
Oh, there you go.
Mm.
She also hates it when I say library. So.
Yeah.
I can understand that one.
I know why. I mean, she's a book nerd, so I mean, she really takes that one personally, but it's fun.
And you're also not 3. It's okay if you're 3.
It is. It's cute when you're 3. So troubling when you're 45. So. All right. So, Christopher, as it's become standard around here, we like to start our shows finding out the background, the origin story, if you will, of the person sitting across the virtual table from us. So in the case of Christopher Swindle, what were your influences that encouraged you to pursue a career in the performing arts?
Gosh, it was like a combination of those stop motion animation holiday specials and the attraction rides at the Disney theme parks. So a little bit of both of those things, probably.
Yeah. How did the attraction rides work into that?
Well, is it always, going through writing Pirates of the Caribbean or Haunted Mansion? The voice is whether it's Ghost Host in the mansion or the talking pirates in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Those are the things that I wanted to do. I knew as a kid that someone was doing those voices. Mm-hmm. So I was always that weird kid that wanted to be. It was more about what do you want to be when you grow up? And then kids would say, policeman or a fireman. And I was like, talking ghost, talking pirate on a ride at an amusement park.
A disembodied voice.
Sure.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
why not?
really cool,
right? Yeah.
That's really cool. I would never have thought of the rides being an inspiration for a job like that, but I can see it now. Like, that makes sense. I just I just also have actually been on those rides, so I
Well,
wouldn't.
yeah, and that's also why I asked the follow-up question, because that's the first, honestly, out of all the interviews we've done, that's the first time I've ever heard that answer.
Great.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. It's a very original answer, and I love the originality of it. It's just something that I hadn't comprehended before, where that could be a possibility, where somebody, as a young man going, yeah, somebody's doing the voice of that thing. I want to be that guy.
Well, the connection came when I learned that Paul Frees, who was the voice of the ghost host in Disneyland, and also, he narrated Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. I made that connection when I realized that, he also did a lot of the voices in the Rankin Bass claymation, stop motion animation holiday specials. Same guy. When you see that name come up and you're like, oh, it's the same person. So someone obviously has this mystery person has this job of making a living, of being a narrator and a voice on this and that. So, yeah. And at the time, they weren't like he wasn't a big celebrity. That was the great thing about being a voice actor too. You're kind of behind the scenes. You're like a mystery voice ninja.
Right.
Like pop in, do your thing, and then you're out. Yeah. But I always thought that was cool.
That is actually one of the things that voice actors have told us too, that they kind of like the privacy aspect of it, because you're not the face of these things. You're just the voice. So you can go and have a normal life and not be surrounded by paparazzi and bombarded by them, because nobody knows what you look like.
Right. And it's kind of cool. There are some people, I think, that get into voiceover for the opposite reason. They do like the popularity that comes with it. And that's okay. That's great. Some of us just like to work and like to keep it not necessarily on the down low, but we're more focused on doing good work. And we are called in last minute sometimes, especially those of us that do voice matching stuff for celebrities. We get called in, you do the job, and then you throw down your smoke bomb and you're gone.
So thinking about voice matching, though, that actually brought me into my question, because like Tim mentioned, we go through and we look at your IMDb, we look at your filmography with I know them from whatever roles. Well, I have a 3-year-old. And so I have a tendency to be like, okay, so where have I heard their voice recently? Because that's a whole different demographic. Kids shows have tons of voice actors. And so I was very excited when I looked at yours and saw Monsters at Work, because that show is amazing.
Oh, thank you. That's good to hear.
It is so cool. But then it was I'm like, Fungus and Phlegm. But wait a minute. Fungus was originally voiced by Frank Oz in the movie.
He was. So
how did you prepare for that role that was already voiced by such a big name?
Well, that's the thing. That happens. Like this, for those of us that kind of do, it's a niche in our industry. Not everybody does it, and that's okay. But those of us do. It is kind of a great thing to kind of have in your back pocket. And so with that, it's basically, I go down a rabbit hole of just constant media thrown at me. If I need to remind myself of what it sounded like, it's like a weirdo. I have everything in my apartment playing on different screens so I'm submersed in it. So scenes from, the movie Monsters Inc. and just listening to it over and over and over and over. And doing a little bit at a time, seeing if if it's in your realm to get close enough. Sometimes I'll pass if I'm realistic and I know it's not really something I can get to. But you got to try it out. And the thing with that one, I was already on the show, and I was already voicing for Phlegm. And the audition came out to the agencies. They didn't try us out at the studio. They were trying out everybody. And so it wasn't like a favor. I didn't get it handed to me.
Right.
The great thing to know was they cast blind on that. And I was mixed in with everybody else. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it was good to know. It was nice and grateful So anyway, answer your question. I just watch the stuff over and over and over again and
That's
talk
cool,
to
though.
myself a lot.
So have you done, I mean, saying that that's part of your niche, is that you've done other voice matching?
Yeah.
Do you have any other like bigger ones that people will be like, oh, wait a minute, that wasn't really the other person? Because
Well, I do. I play Sully in Kingdom Hearts. So when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, so I matched for John Goodman on that. And I've covered for John quite a bit, actually. Sometimes for movie trailers here and there. What kind of brought in to fill in gaps on things. Like with Kung Fu Panda, that was Bryan Cranston's role that he did in Kung Fu Panda 3. He played Poe's dad. And so they needed someone to match for Brian for the series. So yeah, it's nice to have.
That's a cool variety of people to voice match with, though. Like
it's we're lucky. Sometimes we get lucky, and it's a weird kind of job though, because you're not just it's not just doing an impression. You're like filling in for somebody and doing the best you can to get as close as you can to that person. And then sometimes they come in at the end of the project, and they'll record over. Sometimes you're a placeholder, so the project can get going. And sometimes they'll come in the end and do it. And then sometimes they are too busy. It's not working into their schedule. And so we get to stay in, and that's great.
Like, I didn't really know voice matching was a thing until I started interviewing voice actors. And I'm like, that's fascinating.
It really is. There's a scene, let's see, I can talk about it now because it's been a while. I filled in for Philip Seymour Hoffman at the very end of Catching Fire in the Hunger Games film. There was a scene at the very end that they needed to adjust like 2 lines, and it was very subtle. And it was when the camera wasn't on him, it was on Jennifer in the scene. And so sometimes we're called in to just fill in gaps here and there.
So cool.
And so, and sometimes we don't even know why or what it's for. And we don't find out until way later.
They just call you in with hey, we need you to read these 2 lines and sound like this person. That's bizarre.
It is. Sometimes it can be, sometimes you get just a little bit of information, and that's all we're told. And then sometimes, there is quite a bit you get, but I'm working on a couple things right now where I'm doing that very thing, and I can't talk about it until later.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it is a weird kind of thing.
Voice acting secret agents. That's
I know.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Yeah,
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
The whole voice matching thing has been one of the things that I think that we've both been kind of like, oh, that's kind of a cool thing, and that we've kind of learned more as we've talked to more and more voice actors. And and every voice actor kind of views it differently and talks about it a little bit differently, and we always learn a little bit more. So it's always kind of cool, very exciting to learn more about a business that clearly we don't that Kathleen and I are not part of. So it's kind of fun to be able to look from the outside looking in, kind of get a different perspective on it. Now, you've also worked on several anime projects. I saw Naruto, Boruto. I'm sure there's a couple other Narutos in there somewhere. But there's, and I know I'm going to severely pronounce this one because I didn't know about it till today.
It's okay.
Baki Hanma. Did I get how close am I? How close am I on that one?
Yeah, you're right. Baki Hanma.
Woohoo! All right. So now you've worked on the English versions of these animes, and from what I understand, and talking to other people who do the English translations, the version of it can present its own challenges. So what challenges have you encountered with working the English translation of anime and projects like that, and how did you overcome them?
Well, first of all, to me, what comes first is always the best. It's always, the original recordings are always the best way to view them. Our job sometimes is just to adapt it to the English language. I guess the difficult part of it is sometimes the intensity of the acting moment is not chosen by us. It's already done by someone else. And so like if it's already done, if that, we're basically going in and translating it the best we can to English, but some decisions have already been made before we get started as far as how we would, if I guess what I'm trying to say, if the mouth flap has been animated a certain way, the most difficult thing is to adapt it to that and make sure that we are honoring the language correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're getting two different languages that sometimes the mouth flap doesn't line up to. It doesn't line up to words wise in a sentence, if that makes any sense.
It does.
That's a bit of a challenge. And so we're in the moment sometimes having to edit and rewrite to make it work correctly. Okay. So yeah, that's a challenge, but it's totally worth it. But I love it.
I just enjoy that you say mouth flap a couple times. That just amuses me.
It's an interesting phrase, but it also makes a lot of sense.
I understood what you were saying, but at the same time, I'm like right? mouth flap.
Yeah.
So, because I'm all of 12, and that's all I heard was mouth flap. So, I'll show myself out. Don't worry.
No, you can stay. You can stay.
You amuse us.
Okay. So that's kind of what I figured, just because of having to try and match going from the way that the Japanese language structures sentences and things versus the way that American English, even versus not just the English language, but American English structures sentences and I'd imagine that would cause some hurdles, but I don't think right. So clearly it's something that's overcomable.
I know how poorly it usually translates on paper when you have instruction manuals that were not originally written in English and you're trying to figure out how to put together a piece of furniture. I can only imagine it's worse when you're trying to match mouth flaps.
Mouth flap.
Mouth flap. And too, like I said, we're trying to, at least I'm trying to honor as best we can the original, intention.
Right.
That was brilliantly made by that particular company and that country. So we have a big responsibility to do the best we can to translate it in English and give the best performance. But ultimately, the original source is always the best.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I love anime. I love doing it. So
that's cool.
Makes sense.
So as we talked about with research and looking at your IMDb, we have a tendency to go a little further with our research. And I may have been scrolling through your Twitter because why not?
We like to call it a light stalking.
Oh,
it's
nice.
Research. I'm doing it specifically for the interview. It's no longer stalking.
There you go.
The pretty bow of research has been tied to our light stalking.
Yes. So scrolling through your Twitter, I was amused by a tweet on May 9th asking why the shields in Star Trek can't be up all the time. And did you ever get an answer?
My intent of that was just to be silly and ridiculous because I know why, but I love the earnest answers. It's transfer of power. You can't have this going. I know all that. It was one of those things that struck me funny because I was doing like a bit of a marathon, and I have the movies and stuff playing in the background while I'm working. And it is a constant thing of shields up.
Right, why did they stop?
They're like 30 seconds into a battle and they're getting blown away. And there's, shields up now. Why weren't they up? Like,
right.
Why do we constantly say shields up? And I would always just walk around with a shield.
When it is, yes, I understand the power thing and that makes sense. But also it's sci-fi. And the fact that this is happening anyway doesn't make sense. So why can't they have extra power to always have their shields up?
Right. And some people are like, well, it's a sign of aggression. It's a sign of, if you go around with your shield up, it's a sign of aggression. And I'm like, yeah, but what if they just all had their shields up?
Right.
what if
Talk to an
everyone
armadillo. They always have shields.
just always have the shields up, and then no one's being aggressive. We're just all being protective.
Yes.
So, as someone who's fairly new to the Star Trekky stuff, because I've been firmly planted in the Star Wars side of things for the majority of my life. Honestly, I just recently got entranced by the new show Strange New Worlds. I've actually really enjoyed that Star Trek show. Which has encouraged me to go back and start watching the original series now. Before this, my only exposure to Star Trek was a couple episodes of the original series, The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock. I stopped watching when they tried talking to whales, and I called it a day.
Come on.
Yeah, that was pretty much the end of it for me right there. But so I'm getting back into things. But you're right. Even just in Strange New Worlds, they're flying around. They're getting ready, like people are already firing at them. They're like, well, I guess we should put the shields up.
Shields up. How many people died before we said that?
Exactly.
13.
It's just a couple of red shirts. It's okay.
I didn't say it fast enough. Next time. Okay.
Next time
we got
only 12.
Hull breach in the lower decks. Oh, we should probably put those shields up.
Shields up.
Yes. Oh goodness. I would also like to follow up the looking through your Twitter though with I like your advice of taking care of yourself by eating melty cheese.
Oh yeah.
It's just good advice.
It's a problem. It is good advice, but it's a problem.
Melty cheese.
So
Melty cheese.
When we talk about melty cheese sandwiches, is that the same thing as a grilled cheese sandwich?
It can be
Melty, just cheesy anything.
Well, I get that. I'm trust me, I'm down with the melty cheese because it's cheese first off, and then it's warm and gooey and stringy. So yeah. But I'm thinking grilled cheese, because all of a sudden I'm thinking grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup, and that's like my ultimate comfort food.
Ditto.
Mm-hmm.
That is my go-to comfort food.
Exactly. When my wife is like, "Hey, so I had a rough day. We want to make some grilled cheese and tomato soup." Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Can you have a bad day tomorrow too? I mean, just enough so I can get the sandwich in the soup. Not for any other reason.
Absolutely.
Have you ever heard of bread cheese?
I'm sorry. Wait, what?
Bread cheese. Bread.
Just melting cheese on bread?
No, it's a squeaky cheese, but it's I don't remember if it's Norwegian. I don't remember.
It's a squeaky cheese.
It's a squeaky cheese that you have to cook to eat. And so you cube it up and you can pan fry it. And the recommendation is to put honey and almonds on it.
Really? And then you just put it right in the mouth flap.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Now, that sounds fantastic. That sounds fantastic. But the 12-year-old in me wants to know, does it make you squeak afterwards?
No. So it's a young cheese. So it squeaks when you eat it.
When you eat it, you'll hear that squeak,
it squeaks against your teeth.
Because cheese does upset my stomach and I do squeak. I just wanted to know.
So it's actually a Finnish cheese. I was wrong. It's not Norwegian, it's Finnish. But
so squeaks or minor methane explosions, either way.
Right.
But
now I have not heard of that, but now I'm compelled.
Squeaky cheese is fun.
Delicious. I live 15 minutes away from the cheese capital of Michigan. And so I am frequently getting different kinds of cheese because
as you should.
It's right there.
As you should.
What exactly is the cheese capital of Michigan?
Pinconning.
Is it really?
It is.
I didn't know that.
Pinconning cheese is delicious. It's known for their cheese and its very specific strain of pot, but that's a different story.
I'll have to make a visit to Pinconning for the cheese.
There's an urban legend about the Pinconning paralyzer that was supposed to be one of the most potent flowers.
Is that anything like the Scranton Strangler? Or...
I wish. That would be way funnier.
Right? I was gonna say.
Wow, all right. Sorry about that. Okay.
Oh, no.
No, here's me just going sideways.
Learning so much.
Yes.
All right.
Cheese and marijuana.
Well, if you have enough of the second one, you'll want more of the first one. So,
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
right. So, Christopher, going more into your Twitter page with more continued light stalking.
Oh, no.
You had another one about 45 years ago. You said two things affected your version of nerd heaven. They're the release of the live action Spider-Man on CBS, and then a month later, Star Wars was released. Now, I can certainly understand both of those loving both of those franchises. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You may not be able to see it or tell, but most of my Funko Pops behind me are actually Star Wars.
I love it. I can see it and I love it.
And so I've got my big Darth Vader helmet right there. Anyway, so I'm a huge fan of that universe. So for you particularly, though, where does your nerd flag fly these days?
Oh, same place. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. Someone mentioned today on Twitter, why hasn't my boy Chris Swindle been a part of a Star Wars project yet? And I'm like, it's top of the bucket list.
It's not because I'm not trying.
Yeah, no, I would. That's the ultimate bucket list for me. That was one of my first great movie theater experiences that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like 6. I hate to date myself here, but I was 6 years old when it came out, and then haven't been the same since. So
my first was Return of the Jedi. So
nice.
I was only 5 when Empire came out. And then I saw saw Return of the Jedi. And then back in the days of laser discs, kids, when you could rent them from the movie theater, or not the movie theater, but the corner movie store.
What's a movie store?
Yeah.
Right.
We rented laser disc players and rented A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. And ever since then, it's just, that was hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I was 7 when the first Star Wars movie came out that I saw in theaters.
Oh, do I want to know which one?
No, you don't, because it's going to make you cry. She's a child.
Menace.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Phantom Menace. Yeah.
I mean,
I was a couple of months away from turning 7. I was still technically 6 when it came out, but
Phantom Menace. Oh, you're adorable.
I was married, had a child, but whatever. Anyway.
I distinctly remember when I was playing with my Tinker Toys. I kid you not. I was playing with Tinker Toys in the living room when they showed the preview for Empire Strikes Back on the TV.
Okay.
And I remember just being blown away because I didn't, at that age, it's 7, I didn't really understand sequels. I didn't understand that there would be another one. I didn't,
had it not been for Star Wars, nobody would understand what sequels are. So they really weren't done up till that point.
I remember being shocked. I thought that was it. I thought Star Wars I had seen a few times by that point, but I thought that was it. I didn't understand there was going to be more. And so I remember pausing while I'm playing with Tinker Toys in my living room because the preview came on television. And oh man, so excited. So
yeah. I am stupidly excited for tomorrow morning. I've told my wife already that when Kenobi comes on, just because I think my wife is working from home tomorrow, and I've already told her if you want to be out in the front room while I'm watching, that's fine.
Just so you know.
But just so you know, I will not be talking to you because Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
See, John and I had agreed we were going to watch it together tomorrow, but now he has to work late.
Well, that sucks.
So
for John.
I might be getting up at 5 to watch it with him tomorrow morning before he goes to work.
Priorities.
Yes.
This Kenobi comes first.
There you go.
Coworker getting herself.
Although, now I'm really excited about Kenobi, and I'm excited about all the stuff they're doing. But is it just me, or now the timeline? Do we even want to get into the timeline here? Because
sure,
there's some timeline stuff that doesn't make sense to me. Luke is supposed to be 10 years old in this.
9, 10, somewhere around there, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. Now, how old was he in A New Hope? Was he like
about
19?
19.
Okay, so we're supposed to believe that Kenobi ages the way he looks now to Alec Guinness looking in 9 years.
Well, the exposure to two suns, I guess, in 19. Yeah,
if
19
you
years
think
like on
about-
Tatooine is like 40 years somewhere else.
I mean,
That's
think
all I
about
got for
the
you.
effect that the dark side of the Force has on faces and skin. I wonder if the pulling away from the Force would age you as well. If going from Obi-Wan to Ben has made it like when Bilbo gives up the ring and suddenly gets really
Okay,
old.
all right, I see. Okay.
I
All right.
saw a meme the other day that showed Uncle Owen, Aunt Beru, and Obi-Wan as they were portrayed in A New Hope. And then as they're going to be portrayed in Kenobi, and they're like, yeah, in 10 years, they're going to look like this. Don't ever go to Tatooine. So
There you go. There you go. My answer. Thank you.
Or maybe Tatooine had a global pandemic and it did what global pandemic is doing to all of us.
That's true. It was a rough.
I feel like we've aged 10 years in 2 years.
too soon,
Yeah.
Kathleen. Too soon.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was a rough 10 years in that pandemic
Yes.
in Tatooine.
Ooh, that's for sure.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I mean, for them to do it properly, Obi-Wan would have, back at the prequels, Obi-Wan would have had to have been, I think, graying sooner.
Mhm.
Yeah, they showed him awfully young. He would have had to have been aged up a little bit.
I think by Attack of the Clones. Yeah, Attack of the Clones, they should have started graying him, and then Revenge, they should have had him pretty gray.
Yeah,
You know?
he should have been, in my estimation, he should have been in somewhere between Attack of Clones and Revenge. He should have been in his 40s to 50s.
Yeah.
In order to look like he did as Alec Guinness in A New Hope, in order to make that logical leap. Because, as they're portraying him now, I mean, Ewan McGregor's a pretty good looking dude, and he's still pretty handsome looking as Obi. So I'm like, yeah, you didn't age him up enough. Alec was looking pretty rough in New Hope. So,
Alec wasn't drinking his aloe vera water and have his trainers with him as much as I'm sure Ewan has. But,
well, you got me there.
Oh my gosh. No, I am excited about it though.
Absolutely.
I am super excited. And it's funny is like I am so very firmly in the I am excited for Vader camp. Like, which sounds really bad, but I want full bore Vader. Like,
I have my Vader lightsaber lamp there.
I mean, I don't want to say young and healthy Vader because, he was just in lava, but I want angry Vader like we got in Rogue One. Like I want scary Vader.
Yes. Every time I watch that movie, I still giggle every time he enters that hallway because I know some stuff's about to hit the wall. I mean, mainly the people from the ship.
Literally.
But
hit the wall.
I think I cried during that scene in the movie theater just because it was this is why Vader is scary. Like seeing him full strength Vader. I'm like, this is fantastic.
Right. And isn't it interesting that scene was put in later?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when they were making that film, that scene didn't come in until later. They added
that wasn't added.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they did.
It needed to be in there. That really.
I think you're right, though. I think you're right. I think we do need to see off the chain Vader.
I want to see a movie where it's just about Vader on a hunt for Jedi and being
that
full
bore
rage Vader.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that everybody's like, oh, he's been around forever and he's been a part of all these storylines and everything. But honestly, as Darth Vader, his screen time is actually pretty limited to where he's actually fighting and doing the Vader things is actually pretty limited. The most screen time he ever got was in Return of the Jedi, but in most of that, he's actually just standing there talking with Luke.
Right.
There's actually very little saber dueling and anything else. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's just
And I mean the excitement
More
too
Vader,
of the excitement too of Hayden Christensen coming back makes me happy.
I am so very ecstatic that Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor are getting an opportunity to get the appreciation that they should have gotten, 20 years ago with the start of all of this. They got a lot of hate for doing a job they were hired to do, and I've never understood that. I feel the same way about Ahmed Best. I would love Ahmed Best he got a little bit of redemption with the trivia show he did as the Jedi, but I would love for him to get another role in the Star Wars universe where he can, like Hayden, come back and really get a chance to show that hey, it was just a job.
Not be victims of poor writing.
And not be victims of idiot fanboys.
A little bit of both, right? I think as an actor, it's got to be exciting to be able to come back to something and have a second shot at it. Especially if you've grown older and you've matured, you have more time to think about that character and what they would be doing. It's like, I think Keaton said the same thing. Michael Keaton said the same thing about coming back as Batman.
Oh, sure. For the Flash film. Yeah.
He was excited about, and I think some people are like, oh, he's not going to want to do that again. He's not going to want to, no, but he's actually, because he gets a second shot at it, playing this person later in life, like this character is they've aged and gone through things and have seen things and matured. It's like you said with, some of the writing and stuff with some of that, Hayden was kind of stuck in a certain way, but now that character has obviously changed a lot, and that's got to be exciting to kind of play that. I would.
As much as I love George Lucas, I'm excited for Hayden and Ewan to be able to act without George's writing. I love George Lucas. I thank him every day for Star Wars, but he should never be allowed to write another Star Wars movie. So. Yeah,
I feel the same way.
He's a great idea man.
He's a wonderful idea man. He's got all this knowledge and this ability. Yeah. Some people, he's a great idea man, and he can talk to somebody. Hey, I want this to happen, this scene to do this scene to do that. Let somebody who's good at putting those thoughts and ideas into words, put those on the paper, So
similar experience with I had working on Valerian. I don't know if you guys saw Valerian. And I was one of the talking aliens, the three little guys that went around. And Luc Besson, he kind of wanted to be a part of everything. A little bit of this, a little bit of writing, directing, editing, all that kind of stuff. And it seemed like he wore himself ragged, exhausted doing it. It would have been great. I thought the same kind of thing if he could have delegated some of those responsibilities to other folks. It might have been a better movie.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
I don't know, last thing with the Kenobi is I am excited because of Hayden Christensen coming back and Ewan McGregor coming back, because I will watch anything that's got Ewan McGregor in it. But watching Hayden get to go from being Anakin to now getting to be Vader in the suit is very exciting for me.
Yes.
Because he gets that little glimpse of being Vader in 3, and then but that's all we get. Like he never
gets
got
to yell
to
no, and then he gets to yell no, and then look out the window at the Death Star being built. That's it. Which was cool to hear him take.
Was that even him though? Was that even him? Or did they?
Yeah, that's him in the suit.
Physically in the suit? Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes, last minute they don't get to do that, and it's a voiceover.
They didn't let him do the voice,
it's
which
a voice
thank
match.
God. So.
So as we've talked to many actors and voice actors, we like to get their thoughts on one very specific question. So looking back over your career, what advice would you give up and coming actors that you wish that you had?
I would say start sooner if you can. I got into the game a lot later than I could have, just out of sheer insecurity and worried that I wasn't ready for it. And it's okay. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have, and I'm still getting. but I wished I hadn't wasted time, and would have jumped in it a little sooner. I'm always amazed by some of these I call them kids, but the young 20-somethings, even late teens that are getting into voiceover, and it's great. They have such a future ahead of them. But yeah, I would have told myself maybe start sooner, really focus on studying first, which I did do. I studied and I studied. I didn't even claim myself as a voice actor until I had an agent and I was working professionally. But yeah, I probably would have jumped in sooner.
Excellent. All right. So Christopher, we have a Facebook group that follows us that is over 203,000 members right now. And it's a Facebook group that is full of memes about this sci-fi universe mixed with that fantasy universe that's mixed with this sci-fi universe. Yeah. And it's a lot of funny and silly things just kind of all over the place. It's a lot of fun, but we love these meme mashups. So if you had the chance to choose two of your characters to work together to take over the world in a meme style setting, who would you choose and why?
To take over the world?
Yeah, to take over the world.
Well, obviously Phlegm and Fungus, just because it would be funny to say that Phlegm and Fungus are taking over the world, which is true. Sometimes, well, especially during flu season.
I was going to say Phlegm and Fungus during the last 2 years. Oh yeah, no, they've been everywhere. Phlegm, Fungus, and their third compatriot, virus.
Right? Oh, that's funny. God, something I hadn't thought about.
Mashups are always the best,
right?
They're entertaining, if nothing else.
They are. They really are.
So I have one final question.
Oh, sure.
And I have decided to go completely ridiculous with this final question.
No.
Because we need more humor in our lives. And you seem to be a pretty funny guy. So what superhero or villain do you think would make the best therapist?
Would make the best therapist?
Mm-hmm.
Superhero or villain? Probably Tony Stark would be the best therapist, because he would sit and just talk about himself the whole time and he wouldn't have to say anything. I mean, it would be a huge relief. You go there and you're thinking you had to spill your guts on this pressure of talking about yourself, and he just talks about himself, and then time's up and you're like, thanks, you helped so much. I didn't have to say a thing.
I feel so much better because my life is not as terrible as yours.
Right.
I actually like that answer.
Oh,
goodness.
It works for sure. All right. So Christopher, we are at a point in our show where we like to take our guests through a little bit of a quiz.
Oh.
Okay.
Did not sign up for, but you're here anyway.
You're here anyway, so we might as well give it a try. It's a 4-question quiz. All questions are multiple choice.
Oh, thank goodness.
And all these questions are some random trivia questions about monsters at work.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
So you'll have a fighting chance here, maybe. Mm-hmm. However, if you get 3 of the 4 questions correct, we would like to send you this book, which is called Custodians of the Cosmos, which is all about a young man who wanted to join something quite like Starfleet, but not like Starfleet for litigious reasons. He didn't quite make it, washed out, and rejoins as a custodian to boldly clean up after those who boldly just went.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Okay. However, if you get less than the 3 questions correct, so 1 or 2, or it's possible for a 0. Anyway, 0, 1, or 2 answers correct, we take your picture, we make a meme out of you, and we put you in our Facebook group.
Oh, gosh. Pressure.
Well, we try.
You have to tell him what it's called, too.
It's called our fun sequence.
Because it's really fun to say fun sequence.
Is that copyrighted? Because I want to use that.
Please feel free to use it. It's not copyrighted.
I'll send you a dime every time use it.
Fantastic. Please use it a lot. All right. So Kathleen, go ahead. Get us started.
The co-CEO of Monsters, Inc., who leads the comedy class, is A, Mike, B, Boo, or C, Gary?
Oh, that's Mike. That's Mikey.
Mike Wazowski.
Mike Wazowski.
Mike Wazowski.
I love
That is correct. All right. This person is the leader of MIFT, Monsters Incorporated Facilities Team. Is it Frank? Is it Duncan? Or is it Fritz?
Henry Winkler. Oh, Fritz.
Yes. All right. 2 for 2.
This monster is in charge of the Jokester auditions. Is that A, Celia, B, Thalia, or C, Mrs. Flint?
I'm definitely going to have to go with Bonnie Hunt as Mrs. Flint.
That
Pretty
is
good.
correct.
That's 3 for 3, and that's the book.
Hey!
You're
So
out
stick-
of the meme zone.
All right. And our fourth question, just for funsies, the other CEO of Monsters Incorporated. Is that Mr. Waternoose? Is that Sully? Or is it Duncan?
Is that? I'm going to have to say James P. Sullivan.
There you go.
Actually, Sully to you. So, yeah.
You did the voice.
Not only did it do the voice, but if you're paying attention, that was John Goodman's face. So
It really was. That was impressive.
I actually have to do that to do his voice. It's a thing you got to do. We make sometimes voice actors. We contort our faces to do a voice to make it look good and sound good, actually. So,
love it.
That is spectacular. Oh, goodness. Well, Christopher, we have enjoyed talking to you so much. Where can our viewers and our listeners go to find out more about you and what you've got coming up?
Well, let's see. On my IMDb, of course, Christopher Swindle in IMDb. My website is www.christopherswindle.com. And right now, I've got like 5 or 6 things that I'm sitting on that unfortunately I can't talk about, and they're big stuff. But in the next
stupid NDAs.
I know, right? Those darn NDAs. In the next few months, they're going to be coming out, having a lot of fun. I got some stuff coming up with Mattel toys and some more. Oh, I think I can say we're working on season 2 of Monsters. And if you want to catch the current episodes for season 1, that of course is on Disney Plus, and we love our little show. And yeah, so some great things coming out. Most of them I can't talk about yet.
Understood. Fair enough.
But yeah, so but thanks for the love and thanks for the support.
Yeah, definitely. We are going to link your website so that they can go and find out information about you.
Yeah.
And probably your Twitter as well, because it's entertaining.
Because it's fun.
Oh, good. To 2 people. That's fantastic. Good
Exactly. And we want to remind everybody that subscribing is the single most important thing that you can do to ensure that we get more amazing guests like Christopher Swindle here today and these funny moments that you guys can be able to listen to. So please subscribe. It helps out more than you'll ever know. And go check out Christopher's Twitter account. He needs another subscriber. However, if you're not happy with the content of our show today, please feel free to lodge a complaint with the heads of our complaint department, Phlegm and Fungus from Monsters at Work. They're learning from Mike and Sully on how to better run a business. And trust us, you don't want to be on their bad side if they get the sniffles. So give at least 2 copies of your complaint, because if they have a bad day, you know, they just might get some phlegm or fungus on your complaints.
Thanks again, Christopher.
Thank you, Christopher.
Thanks so much, you guys. This was fun.
All right, guys, this has been Funny Science Fiction PopCast. Have a good one. Goodbye. On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF PopCast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSF PopCast, or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the Contact Me link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.